Xhaka in it, Granit Xhaka. Just before we get into Thomas Partey, now I don't want to keep going over the same things. I don't think disclaimer. I think too many footballers, a lot of footballers in life and a lot of footballers in Arsenal's life polarize opinion. I think in football, people like to speak with extremes. You know, people fail to understand two truths can live in the same realm. Like for me, I don't think Xhaka is as bad as his haters may make out. But I don't think he's quite of the level if we're where we're trying to go beyond being a squad player. You know, you either got to believe one or two, according to certain Arsenal fans. As I keep saying, you have Xhaka sexuals, people that will swear blind. He's amazing. He's this, that. And I'm not saying he's not a bad player. I think he's a good player. I think he's misunderstood at times. I don't think he's as bad. Sometimes I think he's been a player that people are very quick to condemn and loud with their condemning of him and slow with their praise. I don't think his consistency is praised enough at times. But, you know, there's Xhaka sexuals where, you know, man just need to watch football. Is he a good footballer or not? I don't care about heat maps, about passes and things. I have a comprehension. You know, he's kind of vital to the team. Things run through him. He's the best of a bad bunch. We've got the negative cocktail of a man that has many problems but will pass the ball forward with problems versus certain people who are either not good enough or play safe. As I said, you've got Xhaka sexuals who bring up fancy heat maps and all sorts of things to convince you he's one of the best, if not the best midfielder in the world. You've got people who swear down that he's not good enough, and they're both lying, in it. The truth is he's not a bad player. He's potentially been mismanaged and misunderstood, but he has not improved in terms of learning from his mistakes and stuff like that. And he's just simply not good enough for us to go to where we need to. I want to be wrong, because who doesn't want us to get top four? I want us to get top four with, or Europe, regardless of who's in this team. You know, it's Arsenal FC. If I don't think Xhaka is good enough and he plays well and he does his thing and we achieve our goals, that's great. Too many people want to die on swords. Like, I want Xhaka to fail. So as far as I'm concerned, Arsenal shouldn't succeed. And obviously we're in that dangerous territory with individuals like this, where even with Willian and Bellerin, you know, they're not good enough. They should be moved on. But there's times we've lost. They're not to blame. You listen to certain people on certain fan channels and how people are carrying on socials and even in real life, you'd believe they're the sole root of our issues. You know, if Xhaka gets a new deal, then it's, you know, Arteta's just got to show me this midfield works, because you sanctioned it. You clearly did. The club or not, why would the club give it to him? I hear resale value, but it's not making sense. If you're giving new deals to any want-away players, it's the Maitlands and Nelsons and Joes and all of these players that are young and got time on their hands. You're not giving it to Xhaka. You know, at 28, you've given him a 4-year deal. That tells me that he's still a vital member to the team, that similar to Aubameyang, he's one of the players of the present. And he's a essential figure. And I just think we've bottled the chance to revamp our midfield and bring somebody in to play properly with Partey. You know, maybe not in fans' eyes, but in Arteta's eyes, because of the minutes he's played. Because let's also not lie, when Xhaka doesn't play, rightly or wrongly, according to his peers in this 25-man squad, you do kind of miss him. You do kind of miss what he brings. He's one of the first names on the team sheet where Arteta is concerned, and he's vital to the way he's playing. So for me, it's just the only thing that annoys me is obviously the new deal, because I don't get it, because he's quite volatile. 1 minute he wants to go to Roma, then he stays. Now he's clearly a good professional if he just gets on with it. But it's just because we're going to cower away from revamping our midfield. Beyond being a squad player and him being the El Nene role, I don't think Xhaka should be in our midfield. And it's building our foundations on the sand. We'll get the occasional good game, but when it comes to times where it's time to stand up to be counted, we're going to be let down, not just by Xhaka, but a number of these individuals that aren't levels. And I think people can console and convince themselves otherwise. When you remove your emotion, he's not a bad player, but he's not good enough to help us, or he's not good enough to be a permanent fixture in the team to the standard he is. And he's definitely not as bad as people make out. If he's signing a 4-year deal, it is what it is, people, because again, I'm looking at Arteta now. If you're giving it to him, make sure I see why. Because if Xhaka plays well, what can anyone say? I can say I don't believe in Xhaka. Xhaka plays well and we achieve our goals. What can I say? Okay, fair play, Arteta. That's why you're the gaffer, and that's why I'm chatting shit on YouTube. Simple as that. But if Xhaka starts moving shaky, if defenders are moving shaky and you're not using certain others, I'm going to say, what's going on here? What's going on there? It's like, if William was working, you can't sit there and say, why is Pepe not involved? Why is Nelson not here? Why is this? Make it work. You're the gaffer. Make it work. If you know, as much as I feel fans sometimes have been right and the gaffer's not listening, if the gaffer listened or the club listened to every decision from the fans, we would not be where we are as a club, because most fans don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Certain fans wanted Owen Coyle at this football club as our manager. Stop smoking, Budge. It's a mazza. And I respect everyone's opinions in that regards. But They're not going to give Xhaka a new deal without his say-so. And I don't think this is slapdash. This is maybe it's off the back of a decent season last year, the Euros, and now look. But I think it's been planned in the same way Tierney signed the deal, Balogun signed the deal. We must have known it. Xhaka didn't wake up, in my opinion, and say, I want to leave. I think the club have known this for months, you know, and they should have kind of known it because he tried to skate a year ago, you know. So I think they've done this. This is Arteta's man. And for me, Arteta, you was a midfielder. So make sure that this midfield looks certain, because I am having a tough time accepting what's going on with our midfield, more so because our technical director was an invincible midfielder, not a certain guy like that, but part of it. And our manager was a midfielder. And I still see question marks over our midfield. I can only comment on what I see. So I hope business gets done in the window. I'm happy to see Lokonga, but you have to let man develop as well. So I don't really know. I think we're building our house on the sands. We'll do what we always do as a club. We'll win certain games and it might be shaky, but we'll shut up about it. But when it's time to stand up to be counted, these certain men are going to let us down, and Xhaka is one of them. With respect to Xhaka, because it's not all his fault. Sometimes he's done more than others. Personally, I think if David Luiz and Xhaka are there against Villarreal, we have more of a chance, because one thing I give them, they're not pussios. Like, pardon my language again. Like, that's the one thing I give them. They're not soft. They have a lot of problems, but listen, I think they stand up to be counted. I think they're good. I think Xhaka stands up to be counted. I think he's a good teammate. I think he's a good leader. I do think this about him. I just don't think he's certain in the midfield. I don't believe in him. It's as fundamental as that. But the gaffer believes in him. That's the only opinion that matters in the fans' books. I mean, in the club's books. So just make it work. If you make it work, what can fans say? What can I say? I can't say anything. There's not a damn thing you can say. But if it doesn't, then boy. But for what it's worth, people, allegedly, Granit Xhaka is expected to sign his new contract with Arsenal until 2025. Final details still to be agreed. Xhaka open to discuss, as he's not joining Roma this season. So you're his second choice, you know. And the thing with him, I can't begrudge Xhaka. He's 28 years of age. He's been at Arsenal for a while. He didn't grow up in this country, didn't become an Arsenal fan. This is a job. So I'm not angry at the fact that he wants to go to Italy or he wanted to go back to Germany. Same way with Leno and Bellerin. My problem is the club. These lot are at the ages now, or whatever. They think they've done everything here. They think they're bigger than the club. They think a lot of different things. They want to try things. We seem to keep going through this. 1 minute they're staying, 1 minute they're going, and you never get the vibe that it's the club making these decisions. You get the vibe that Xhaka said, you know what, I'm staying. Fair play to Xhaka. You know, I do think maybe the Roma move was maybe far off than we ever thought, because a lot of us was thinking, you know, it was all but done and maybe Xhaka would have to dig his heels in and things like that. But, you know, with him so being open to stay, and I don't think this Roma move, unless it's some games where he might still join, I don't think it was ever as close as it might have been, people, in that regard. I don't even know if I shared the screen with you. Look, sorry, folks. Let me make sure I've done that again. But like you can see here, people, like 2025. So it firmly is what it is. Xhaka. Let's just type in Xhaka again. And see what happens. Obviously, the manager has said he's staying. He's a vital man to Arteta's plan. So again, show me more progressive passing with him and Thomas Partey or whoever is in that midfield pivot. Arsenal are in talks with Granit Xhaka over a new contract, but progress over possible further fresh arrivals is slowed. And obviously, one thing that scares me is, Arteta, are you willing, you know, I'm sure Xhaka and you lot knew this a long time ago. With Xhaka now allegedly staying, has this not flipped the transfer plans? Because suddenly, I think we're just going to double down on trying to get Odegaard or a 10 now, and that's going to be it. I've got no faith in the right back. You can't sell Lacazette at this moment in time. It doesn't look like. So bringing in another striker isn't going to make sense, people. And, you know, for the Xhaka sexuals out there, they swore blind that, you know, this guy would have so many clubs lined up after him. Roma at 28 years of age in his prime, they're not prepared to meet a 20 million euro asking price. Where if he was that good, it would have been done. I'm not saying Xhaka is a good or bad player. I'm just saying you can have your opinion and you can have a fact, and two truths can be in the same realm. Personally, you know, this tells me you're Arteta's guy because you're contracted until 2023. There is, again, I don't advocate contracts running down. So whether I agree with it or not, you're sorting out his future. At the same time, could you have run another season without giving him a new deal? Can you see if he could do it again or maintain that form? Boy, we'll have to see, man. Boy, despite no longer being club captain, Xhaka is a leading figure in the dressing room, and after learning about Roma's failed attempts to sign him, has impressed in training. So, yeah, credit to him. I do think he'll get on with it. He's not one that's going to whine. He'll keep moving. But, you know, all he said is Arsenal know what I want, this, that, and the third. So we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. But it probably has shifted our transfer plans and some nonsense now, isn't it, really? So we'll have to see what's happening in relation to Granit Xhaka, folks. Please make sure you're hitting the like button and all those sort of things. Oh, don't know why my calendar opened there, but it is what it is.